Imagine you have been a prisoner in a dark, cold cell for years. It is a miserable place, but it is a familiar one. It is one of the most confusing and shame-inducing parts of the recovery journey. You take 2 steps forward, only to inexplicably take 3 steps back. You have a breakthrough in therapy, and then spend the next week engaging in old, destructive habits. You finally find a safe and loving partner, and you feel a compulsive urge to push them away. You are standing at the open door of your own liberation, and you find yourself clinging to the chains. You know the texture of the stone walls, the rhythm of the dripping water, the shape of the shadows. This suffering is the world you know. Then, one day, a key turns in the lock, and the heavy door creaks open. Outside, you see sunlight, you hear birdsong, you smell fresh air, freedom, healing, everything you've ever dreamed of. And then, you do a strange thing. You hesitate. You shrink back from the light. You might even take a step back into the familiar darkness of your cell. Why? Because the misery is known. The freedom is a terrifying, blinding, and unpredictable unknown. This is the strange, secret paradox of healing. And this is the heart of self-sabotage. Let me tell you the most important truth you will ever hear about this. You are not trying to fail. You are not addicted to misery. You are not, on a deep level, trying to sabotage yourself. Let's look at the subtle ways it sabotages you. Not to judge it, but to finally understand its motives. And to gently, lovingly, thank it for its service and let it know it can stand down. What you are doing is a misguided, fear-based, and profoundly intelligent act of self-preservation. Your saboteur is not a villain. It is a terrified bodyguard, a part of you that has been protecting you for years, and it is absolutely terrified of leaving the only world it has ever known. It is not trying to keep you in pain. It is trying to keep you in what is familiar. And for a traumatized nervous system, familiar will always feel safer than better. So let's turn a compassionate light on this inner bodyguard. The first subtle way you self-sabotage is by minimizing your own progress. You have a genuinely good week. The anxiety is quieter, the depression lifts, you feel a flicker of real joy. Your partner is kind, consistent, and safe, and it is deeply, profoundly uncomfortable. Your nervous system, which is used to the chaotic push-and-pull of toxic dynamics, doesn't know what to do with peace. Peace feels like the eerie quiet before an ambush. So, you create a conflict out of nothing. You misinterpret a neutral comment, you become irritable, you push your partner's buttons until you provoke a reaction. And in that moment of conflict, as painful as it is, a part of your system relaxes. Ah, it says, there it is. The chaos I know. This is a world I understand. You are not trying to ruin your relationship. Your bodyguard is just testing the foundations of the safe house. Because it does, believe it, as real. But instead of celebrating, you immediately dismiss it. It's just a fluke, you think. It won't last. It's not that big of a deal. You turn down the volume on your own joy. This is your bodyguard at work. It is protecting you from future disappointment. The hope that comes with feeling good is to your nervous system a dangerous vulnerability. What if you let yourself believe it could last, and then the pain comes back? That would be a fresh hell. So the bodyguard preemptively manages your expectations down to 0. It keeps you in a state of low-grade misery because that is a predictable pain, far safer than the catastrophic crash that could come after feeling hopeful. The second is by unconsciously picking a fight or creating chaos. You are in a healthy, stable relationship.
The third subtle way is by forgetting to use your healing tools. You know that journaling helps. You know that meditation calms you. You know that walking in nature lifts your spirits. You have a whole toolkit of strategies that you've learned, and they work. But as soon as you start to feel genuinely better, you simply stop doing them. You forget. You tell yourself you don't have time. This isn't laziness. This is your bodyguard subtly unplugging the very machines that are facilitating your escape from the prison. Why? Because those tools are actively changing your neurological state. They are moving you from the familiar world of survival mode into the unknown territory of safety and regulation. And change, even positive change, is terrifying to a system that has equated stability with stagnation and hypervigilance with being alive. The fourth is a brilliant intellectual defense. You become a scholar of your own trauma instead of a survivor of it. You read every book. You listen to every podcast. You can explain your attachment style, your C-PTSD symptoms, and your childhood wounds with the precision of a clinical psychologist. You intellectualize your pain. This is an incredibly sophisticated form of self-sabotage. It allows you to feel like you are working on yourself while keeping the actual, messy, painful emotions of the trauma safely at arm's length. You have become a museum curator of your own pain, carefully labeling and displaying the artifacts without ever having to touch them. Because to truly touch them, to feel them in your body, would be overwhelming. The bodyguard allows you to process with your head to protect your heart.
The fifth way is by immediately finding a new crisis to focus on. You've just resolved a major source of anxiety in your life. A sense of calm begins to settle, and it is unbearable. So your mind, like a heat-seeking missile, immediately finds a new target for its worry. A minor issue at work becomes a catastrophe. A political story becomes a source of obsessive dread. A small conflict with a neighbor becomes an all-consuming drama. You are a perpetual firefighter, always looking for a new blaze to extinguish. This is because your body has become accustomed, and in a way, addicted, to the stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline. A state of calm can feel so foreign that it registers as boredom, or even worse, a dangerous lack of awareness. Your bodyguard creates a new fire so you can feel the familiar, activating rush of being in crisis mode. The sixth subtle sabotage is romanticizing your past pain. As you start to heal and feel the quiet stability of a healthier life, your mind may start to play tricks on you. It will whisper, "Remember that toxic relationship? At least it was exciting. At least you felt something so intensely." You start to remember the passion of the fights, not the terror. You remember the highs of the makeup sex, not the soul-crushing lows of the silent treatment. This is your bodyguard trying to lure you back to the familiar cell. It minimizes the pain of the past and devalues the peace of the present, making the known misery seem more attractive than the quiet, steady effort of a healthy life. The seventh is setting impossible perfectionistic healing goals. You decide you will meditate for an hour every day, never get triggered again, and be completely healed in 6 months. This is not a genuine plan for healing. It is a perfectly designed plan for failure. Your bodyguard knows you cannot possibly meet these standards, and when you inevitably fail, it gets to say, "See, I told you, you are broken beyond repair. Healing is impossible. We might as well stay here in this cell where we know the rules." It is a preemptive strike against the messy, nonlinear 2 steps, forward 1 step back reality of true, lasting healing. And finally, the 8th way is to isolate yourself immediately after a moment of true connection or vulnerability. You have a breakthrough in therapy. You share something deeply personal with a friend, and they hold it with love. Do not add another layer of shame by berating yourself for self-sabotaging. Instead, I invite you to get curious. I invite you to meet this part of yourself with compassion. When you notice one of these behaviors, gently say to yourself, "Ah, there's the bodyguard. I see you. Thank you for trying so hard to protect me. What are you afraid of right now?" You experience a moment of profound intimacy with a partner, and your immediate, reflexive response is to retreat, to go silent, to disappear for a few days. This is the vulnerability hangover. The openness, the connection, felt so good, but it also felt incredibly dangerous to the guarded, protected parts of you. It's like you've been exposed to the full brightness of the sun after years in the dark. So you retreat back to the cave, back to the cell, to recover from the sheer intensity of being truly seen. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, do not meet them with your inner critic.
You heal this part not by fighting it, but by befriending it. You heal by slowly, patiently reassuring it that the world outside the cell is safe. You do this by taking small, manageable risks, by letting the good feelings last for just a minute longer each time, by allowing a safe person to see a tiny crack in your armor, by proving to your bodyguard, experience by gentle experience, that you will not be annihilated by joy, that peace is not an ambush, that a healthy love will not abandon you. You are not sabotaging your healing, you are just afraid of it. And that is the most normal, human, and understandable thing in the world. You are learning to trade the brutal certainty of your pain for the terrifying, beautiful, and magnificent uncertainty of your own becoming. be patient. The bodyguard will learn to trust you, and together, you can finally walk out of that cell into the sun. If this story resonated with you and you want to be more compassionate with your own inner bodyguard, share a thought in the comments. And if you'd like to continue this journey of befriending yourself, please subscribe. We're on your way.